Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are. I'm Michiji, and today I'll be doing a tier list of all the cards in the Harvest of Horrors Cannabeast set. For those of you who don't know who I am, I've competed in several of the NPL hosted tournaments and won a couple of them. So I have a pretty good idea on what cards are good, bad, busted, or just, fun to play. So for those of you who are new or might be interested in playing the game a little more competitively, sit back, relax, and enjoy. First, we're going to start off with Agent Orange. I'll read the card first. It destroys all nutrients and ambushes in play, and no new nutrients can be played for 2 turns. That's going to go straight to God tier. It's the first of its kind that has been released that has to deal with destroying all nutrients and ambushes, so it's pretty broken. It's definitely game-changing, meta-changing. A lot of the meta before was to really have a stacked backline to kind of stop your opponent from being able to make any really serious pushes for pounds. So that's definitely just God tier. Enough said about that. Next up, we'll go to Black Demon. Black Demon, pay 100 pounds, and you add an Indica Cannabeast from your hand, or to your hand from your stash. So it's the first searchable card for Indicas, which we haven't seen really Indicas be touched by a lot of good cards at all. So they've mainly just had some hitters, some powerful Cannabeasts, but they never had any real ability to search like concentrates have, and they haven't been so strong that they could be like boosted and it would make a difference, kind of like how hybrids are. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in immediate meta. It's almost God tier, but it's kind of missing that last aspect of just being straight busted, because you still have to pay something to really make it happen. Next up, we have Black Widow. Its ability is when this Cannabeast is attacked, Dreamworld Nightmare, which is the new banish effect that they've had for this Harvest of Horrors set. Affected Cannabeast is banished to the Dreamworld for a number of turns, which in this case is 1. So whenever this card's attacked, it would still be destroyed if the attacking Cannabeast is higher attack than its defense or attack. So for that reason, and it only gets banished for 1 turn in our case, I'll say close to meta, but not meta. Next on our list is Candy Corn. Candy Corn, when this Cannabeast does battle, its new ability is called Sesh, that came out in this set. When this card does battle, combine the attack of all Cannabeasts with the same name and the attack position on your side of the field. So all Candy Corn. So it's not just like everything on the field. So just from what I'm reading, how it sounds, just you have to have multiple Candy Corn out to really add up its attack, which its attack is already pretty low. So for that reason, I'll say not meta. I won't say miles from meta. I could see someone coming up with a deck that could maybe do something with this card. It's got not terrible stats on it for attack and defense, so we'll just leave it there. Next on our list is Candy Glue. I love the art for this card. It doesn't have an effect, and it's a 2 Harvest Concentrate with 240 defense and 150 attack. If this was a 1 Harvest or 1 Sacrifice, I would put it higher on the list, but it just doesn't do that much. It can be, transplanted, so I guess I could put it close to meta since you could just instantly get it out. Next on our list, Chuck OG, a really heavy hitter. It's a 2 Harvest, 29% THC with 270 attack, 270 defense. This card definitely goes meta. Like I've seen decks run with this card, and it can definitely change the tide of a game, having something come out that strong instantly. And there are ways to get it out in the field, whether it be revive. It's all around a powerful card. Next up, Chucky's Bride. So it has one of 2 effects: revive 1 Chuck OG from the ashtray to the field, or search your stash and add a Chuck OG. So yeah, this goes right along with Chuck OG. I think that it's a stash 1, and Chuck OG is also a stash 1. I do think that kind of hurts it, but it's because of how powerful the cards are. It's a 270 hitter, and this just allows you to pretty much get it out on the field instantly. Chupacabra is next up on our list. It's a hybrid Cannabeast, 19% THC, 160 defense, 110 attack. Not all that strong. I love the card art. I'm definitely going to put this one at not meta, Next we have Crazy Clown. Crazy Clown, no effect, 80 attack, 100 defense. It's a low THC indica. We'll definitely just say, I don't know if I want to put it miles for meta, but I guess for now we're going to put it miles for meta just because it's so low attack and it doesn't have an effect that's really going to do anything for you. so we'll leave it there. Crypt Keeper. It's a 30% THC with a high defense, hybrid Cannabeast. You know, I would argue miles from meta, but I would just leave it at not meta for now. It has a strong defense, don't get me wrong, but for a 2 harvest, that's not really, with no effect, it's kind of not really worth it to do much with it. Next, we have Dark Phantom. Again, another card I love the art for. The team did a really good job from the looks of it on all of these art pieces. There wasn't a single card that came out in this that I thought could have been done better. So for this card, Dark Phantom, it has 22% THC, so it's going to be a 1 sacrifice or 1 harvest, 150 attack, 130 defense with no effect. Yeah, for that reason, with the low attack and low defense, I'll have to put it not meta. Nothing on this really jumps out to me in terms of its ability to become meta, so Dr. Green Thumb's Apprentice. This is one of their full arts for the set. I love it so much. You know, Dr. Green Thumb needed some sort of, you know, buff to him, and this kind of is it. It allows you to trade off that 3 harvest and turn it into a 1 harvest. I would say close to meta. It has a place. It definitely has a place where I think it could pop off. I just think that you need the right deck and you need the right conditions to make it happen. So for that reason, we'll do close to meta. Next up, we have Fatso. This is a 28% THC indica with 240 attack, 220 defense. Meta, but I would say not meta just because it's a 2 harvest, not a 1. I would argue being in between here. It's definitely higher up on the not meta if it is not meta, just because it has a stronger attack. But, yeah, I think this is pretty fair right here. Frankenberry's up next. I love this card. It's extremely powerful sativa Cannabeast. 170 attack for a 16% THC and 165 defense. So this is kind of a clone of the promo S'mores. That card also has a similar attack defense, stats on it, THC percentage, around the same THC percentage. S'mores has a good effect, which makes it really meta. But, you know, Frankenberry, I would still put this at meta. I definitely wouldn't put it like top meta. But being that high of attack and defense for really no cost at all, and it's at a stash 2, it's pretty good in my mind. Next, we have Ghost OG. Hybrid Cannabeast, 19% THC, 155 attack, 130 defense. Not all that crazy high for stats, but, you know, a lot of hybrid decks revolve around boosting their Cannabeast. So I could say close to meta for this. It's not so low that you just wouldn't use it, and it has no cost to really plant it in the first place, so I would put close to meta. Next, we have Ghost Train Haze. I love the art for this card. It's Sativa, 140 attack, 160 defense. A little bit on the weaker side. Generally speaking, about something that's meta and something that's a low THC and that's free to plant. Just one, it doesn't require anything, no harvest. You want it to be a close to 170 attack if it's going to be an attacker. And if it's defender, you want it close to 180. Unless it has a really good effect that makes it, you know, differ or ability. So for that reason, we'll do close to meta just because it's not terrible at all in terms of stats. So it's about the same as Ghost OG. Ghost Tree up next. 145 attack, 225 defense, but it's a 23% THC, so it's a 1 harvest. You gotta sacrifice 1 for it. So I'd say it's a little bit like worse version of Candy Glue. So we'll put it close to meta. You know, it's not bad whatsoever. You know, the not meta cards, they're not bad either. It's just when you're talking about you're going against the most like meta of decks, you're going to be looking at running into cards that are constantly you know, destroying Cannabeast, banishing them, sending them somewhere, returning them back to your hand. So the lower the cost of the harvest and the better effects you have are going to be a lot more meaningful. And, you know, Ghost Tree not having an effect, and it does have high defense. That's kind of what I'm talking about when I add cards here, is that how prevalent are they in the current meta, and what can they do to survive on their own on the field. Next up, Goblin Pumpkin Bombs. I love the art, but just giving the attack, it increases the attack of Green Goblin by 30 until the end of the turn, which, you know, Green Goblin is it's older card. It's from the base set. I would say not meta because, you know, if you have the cards and you're able to boost them, it's another booster, but at the same time, adding just a ton of boosters in your deck does sometime equal a win, but not always. So we'll say not meta, but I could see it being used somewhere. Going Bananas. I absolutely love the card art for this. Destroy the Concentrate Cannabeast with the lowest attack face up on the field. You know, the way it's worded, it sounds like you could honestly end up accidentally destroying your own Concentrate if you have one, just because it doesn't say it's on your opponent's side. You know, I would say close to meta, much further up on the list, probably around here. I could see it being ran as a side deck card. I really wouldn't main deck this. I don't think Concentrates are that popular at the moment, so I would definitely put it here. Grim Lotus. This card, it's around the same thing as the last one I talked about. Pay 100 pounds, add 1 Snow Lotus or Grim Reaper to your hand from your stash. So you get to, it's a search card, and it's specifically for those 2 cards. It's kind of one of those, it's almost like a win more card. Like if you're already in a really good spot in the game and you get this and you're like, oh sweet, I get to search out my Grim Reaper, you're in a good spot. But, you know, if you're towards the end game more, you don't have a ton of pounds left, and you draw this, and your cards are already in this ashtray, it's not going to help you at all. So for that reason, I'll put it around the exact same place that I put Going Bananas, at close to meta. Hellraiser OG. 26% THC, Sativa, 250 attack, 180 defense. So unfortunately, it's just above that threshold of THC at 26%. To where it no longer becomes a 1 harvest and edges into the 2 harvest area. So for that reason, I'm going to have to put close to meta, but definitely not meta. It just doesn't have high enough attack. If you're looking at something that's a, you know, high attack Cannabeast that costs a low amount, you know, we're talking about like the highest of this version being a 2 sack, being a 2 harvest is Chuck OG. 270 attack, you want it to be around 270 plus. If you're ever going to be, you know, harvesting 2 for it. 250 makes it a little low. It is higher than most of the 1 harvest available. You know, yeah, we'll say close to meta for that reason. Hellfire OG. Your opponent draws a card and discards a card. Not super bad, not super good. Definitely not really relevant in the current meta, but I could see it being used in some decks. Not super good, not super bad at all. It's just kind of neutral. Jack the Ripper. It's a 17% THC Sativa Cannabeast with 165 attack, 120 defense. So, you know, that's pretty good attack stats. It's similar to Frankenberry, but it's not at Frankenberry. So for that reason, I'll put it at meta. I mean, no, I'm gonna put it at close to meta. You know, if you have the option and you're picking a Sativa, you're just gonna go with Frankenberry. Jeepers Creepers OG. It's a 1 sack, so it's a 1 harvest, 25% THC Sativa with 230 attack. Oh, sorry, it's 25. I just noticed that. Yeah, never mind. It's a 2 harvest, so we'll have to put that probably around close to meta. I would say top of not meta. Monster Cookies. When your opponent plants a Cannabeast with 25% THC or more, they must discard a card, or that Cannabeast is destroyed. You know, 25% THC is it's right at that scope where you have to harvest 2 for it. So, and most of the ways you're gonna see someone plant a more than 25% THC Cannabeast is probably more on the lines of reviving it, or, you know, transplanting it, or something along those lines. You will see people harvest for these, but just not as often. The important part to list on this is the fact that it says plant, and plant is really just referring to a harvest, so you're having to sacrifice 2 for whatever Cannabeast you're using this against. Just for that reason alone, I'm gonna put not meta. If it had said you know, plants, revive, or transplant, I would definitely put it much higher up on the list. Yeah, we could say close to meta. We could say close to meta here. Probably goes around there. Next up, we have Morticia. I love this card so much. Cultivate target Cannabeast on your side of the field. This Cannabeast may be harvested for double until the end of the turn. This card's great. It allows you an express method. We were just talking about the monster cookies, how you don't see those 25% or higher THC Cannabeast be planted that often just because of how high their cost is, but this lowers that cost. I would definitely say this card has the ability to be meta I've seen it ran in decks, and it is one of those situational cards, and it is one of those cards potentially that's more of a win more that you don't want to see this towards the end of your game. But, you know, it could also become super handy. Murder Hornet. It's a low THC, so 15%, hybrid, 130 attack, 130 defense with no ability. We're going to put that at not meta. Just too low attack, doesn't have an ability, and it's not really serving a huge purpose. Nightmare OG. Okay, this card is actually game changing right here. When this, we're already going to put that up at, I would argue God tier, but metas where we'll leave it just because it has 0 attack and 0 defense. So its attack stat, defense stat is not what makes it meta, it's its ability. It's Dreamworld Nightmare when this card is attacked or attacks. So that means you can force the ability to go off by going for an attack. Dreamworld Nightmare. The affected Cannabeast is banished to the dream world for a number of turns listed. In this case, it puts a dash, so that means it's indefinite. It's forever. So you just banish. So and it just says attacks or attacks. So it doesn't even say that the Cannabeast needs to be destroyed in the result. It's just the action of attacking. So you could use this to attack a defense position Cannabeast. You could be in defense, but since you have 0 defense, it would be resulting in pierce damage. So in Cannabeast, there's a little side rule where if your Cannabeast has 0 defense and it's attacked, it will be piercing damage no matter what the Cannabeast is that's attacking. So in this case, you'd more want to use this as an offensive, but I could see it being used as defensive as well to kind of bait your opponent into attacking it to just banish one. OG Lime Killer. It's a 18% THC sativa with a 100 attack and 50 defense with no ability. We're going to put that at not meta. Maybe back a little more. Same with Murder Hornet. It's just too low attack, too low defense, low THC, but it doesn't have any hitter aspect to it. Poltergeist. You know, I'm very up in the air with this card. I love the card art. It's changed locations of your face down nutrients and ambush cards, and it itself is an ambush. So that means, you know, if your opponent is targeting like with an ambush blocker one of your face downs, and you know that it's a good face down you want, you could use this and change its target. Switch your positions of your cards. I could see it as like a side deck card. We'll probably put it around like right here. Pumpkin Bong. Before I even read this, we're already going to put this at meta. We're going to put this up here. It's closer to top meta. Equip this nutrient to a target Cannabeast. If the equipped Cannabeast would be sent to the ashtray, send Pumpkin Bong instead. That's amazing. That's just stops an attack pretty much, or it stops an ability from destroying your Cannabeast on the field. Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead ability, consume any pumpkin cards on your side of the field. Each consumed gives plus 35 attack. Consumed pumpkins are sent to Dreamworld Nightmare, so they're banished. And it's a dash, so it's indefinite. It's forever. It's 20% THC sativa, 175 attack, 110 defense. I could see many situations in which this card could become meta if someone made the right deck for it. So I just can't think of a really, really solid situation in which it would become crazy meta, just because, you know, you look at a card like Pumpkin Bong, it has pumpkin in its name. It could be used as one of those, you know, tribute tokens to increase this card's attack, but at the same time, Pumpkin Bong is so good that you don't want to get rid of it like that. You want to use it for its ability. It's just too many negatives on your side to really matter that much. Snow Monster. It's indica, 21% THC, so it's 1 harvest and no effect or ability. 210 attack, 165 defense. Yeah, we're going to put you around not meta, but we'll say it could be close to meta. It's only a 1-drop, so 1 drop for a 210 attacker. Like, I could see if there was some like boosters out on the field, something that just buffed its attack, I could see it. Spooky Sunset. Yeah, that's gonna be going up here, buds. Like, Spooky Sunset. Any Cannabeast under 20% THC which has been sent to the ashtray this turn is revived back onto the field. So Spooky Sunset, a really good version of it is, let's say you use Heat Wave and you destroy all of your Cannabeast on the field, then use Spooky Sunset, so that way you get all of your Cannabeast back. As long as they're above 20% THC, or sorry, under 20% THC, you get them all back. And they're basically revived back to the field. But there's another way of using that, and that's the collector, which I'm going to skip to ahead and talk about now. That's going to go all the way up at God tier. So we'll read it first. The collector is the ability: reveal the top card of your stash. If this revealed card is a blue dream, it is planted on your side of the field. Any other Cannabeast revealed this way is sent to the ashtray. Any other card revealed to this way, so that would be nutrients ambushes, are placed at the bottom of your stash. And it has been talked about that this card ability can be used multiple times per turn. You just put this card in your deck with 2 or 3, well, probably around like 2 blue dreams, and it becomes extremely annoying. It's extremely rare card to pull in the first place. I think it's only out of 100, and there's no stoner like nutrient or ambush that allows you to search out stoners and add them to your hand. So you kind of just have to draw it somehow. And then you have this other neat little card called Spooky Sunset that can just bring them back, all of the ones that you were discarding to the ashtray. So it's an extremely strong combo. For those reasons alone, these 2 cards must be in the God tier. Spider-Man. I love this card so much, and the art for it. It's Stoner, 18% THC. May attack your opponent's pounds directly if your opponent has no Cannabeasts that are set to attack position. So this is really good because a big part of the meta before this set came out was a lot of stacking your back line, making sure you're set up with face downs, sling effects. Cards like Chocolate were really prevalent. I mean, they still kind of are. Cards like Turkey Tail are just really powerful defensive Cannabeast. So for that reason, this card could definitely... It's low attack, low defense, don't get me wrong, but it has the ability to be extremely annoying because it's stash 3. I'll definitely put that at meta. I think it's bottom of meta, but I've seen decks use this and be extraordinarily annoying. I've seen burn decks with this card, and it's extremely annoying. Just getting that little bit of extra chip damage for the burn effects to really seep in, it's disturbing, okay? Swamp Thing. It's Indica Cannabeast, 23% THC, no effect, 230 attack, 100 defense. We'll put that close to meta, top of close to meta. Basically, when you're looking at which cards to choose as your like 1-drops, the Cannabeast that are 1 harvest to summon them or to plant them, you really want to look at what the most meta ones are, which, you know, you're going to look at, like UK Cheese is a great example, or Nosferatu. Those are the strongest of the 1-drops. They're 240 attack and 230 attack, but the 230 attack UK Cheese has a pretty good effect of it just being sent back to your hand if it's destroyed by a ambush. But the other important note is that Swamp Thing is searchable. Now that we have access to Black Demon, Indicas are searchable. Sativas, Hybrids, Stoners, they're not searchable at the moment. Only Concentrates and Indica. The Blood. This card is... I like the idea of it. It's a 1-drop, 200 attack, 230 defense, and it's an Indica, so it's searchable at the moment. It has a place on both sides. It can be an attacker or a defender when you need it to be, but it's just not high enough attack to where it's crazy good, and it's not high enough defense where it's crazy like defensive, like nothing could get over it. So for that reason, we'll also put this at close to meta, but not meta. Thunder Bloody Mary. Hybrid with 23% THC, 225 attack, and 160 defense. Those are pretty good stats for a hybrid. It's not searchable, but it is 225 attack. Probably close to meta. I could see this. No, I feel weird putting it at meta just because I haven't really seen it be used that much. There's other cards that are better than it. With better effects, so we'll put close to meta. But I love the card. I love the card art, and I think that it does have a place in the current meta. Like I think it can be used effectively. I just don't think that it's really going to be the chosen option over other cards. But we'll definitely put it top of close meta. Trick or Treat. Oh man, we saved one of the best for last. This is definitely meta. I might even put closer to top meta. Yeah, probably around here. So here's its effect. If this card is revealed to your opponent by a card effect, this turn or their turn is ended immediately. Otherwise, activate this card to give your Cannabeast plus 50 attack and defense till the end of the turn. So it has basically 2 different effects in one. It has an effect while it's in your hand, so you can use it as kind of bait to get discarded or revealed, like a card from like S'more. Obviously, that's only good when your opponent does it during their turn because you want their turn to be skipped. It doesn't do anything while it's in your turn. And then it has a secondary effect of being plus 50 attack and defense for 1 Cannabeast, so that makes it amazing in its own. And that's it for our tier list today. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments if you guys want me to keep doing these or ones like these with the other sets. I'm really excited for Flowers of Love. That's going to be released soon. You know, if you guys might have different thoughts on the meta and what these cards really have done for the meta in general, but I think that the set was a crazy update to what is available, and it changed how the game was played completely. I'm really excited to do more Cannabeast content like this, so thank you guys again. Make sure you like if you like it, subscribe if you like it, so you can see notifications for the next video. Thank you. Have a good day.